Hi, my name is Andrea Maharg. I'm a teacher librarian with the Thames Valley District School Board, and you can reach me at a.maharg, MEHARD, at tvdsb.on.ca. I'm going to teach you how to take really excellent anecdotal notes that you can use to create your report cards really easily. Once you learn how to do this process, you'll be able to see lots of other ways that it can be helpful for you in the classroom. We're going to start here with the end result after having done all the work. The point of this process is so that when I'm finished with a unit or when I'm finished with a term, I can look at individual students. So this is my fake student, Amy, and see how Amy has done over time on different expectations in math. In this case, it's number sense and numeration. Each box gives me the curriculum expectation, the level if I wanted to put one, and some observations. And you can see that you can easily just copy and paste these observations into your report card. It really makes for a great narrative format. So on this one, again, we're talking about math. So here's my curriculum expectation. I gave her a level for this one, and here's my comment on how she's doing. And especially for the narrative format, you can see how this will really lend itself well to writing report cards, because you'll be able to see how Amy was doing at the beginning of the year and how she's progressed in each thing. This process takes a little bit of time and a little bit of work, which is why I made the screencast. But once you've figured it out, you'll be able to fly through it really quickly. So let's go through step by step. The first thing that you're going to have to do is go to your Drive, your Google Drive, and you're going to create a folder with a name of something that makes sense to you. So to do that, you click New and Folder, and then you're going to call this whatever makes sense to you. I'm going to call it this, although this is not the folder I'm using, and then you create. And it will show up in your Drive. I've already created a folder for this purpose, so it's my assessment folder, so I'm going to click into it, and I've already done some work here. The very first thing that you're going to need to do is to make a master copy of your student name folder. It's really important that you never actually use this master copy folder, because it will save you a lot of time down the road. So to do that, in my assessment folder, you're going to click New Folder and call it Master Copies and create it. And in this folder, double click to get in it, you are going to create a new Google Doc for each student in your class. The way that you do that is you simply click up here and put the child's name. Google will organize your stuff alphabetically. So if you prefer it to be alphabetically like your class list, put it in last name, comma, first name. For me, I'm just going to use first names. So you just type the name, it shows up here, and then you close it. And you can see that as soon as this works, that Andrea will show up in here. I'm going to do another one. And close it off. So you can see I have a few names in here. You're going to want to put every name of your student in here. So you'll probably want to pause the video and create a new Google Doc for every student in your class. I've already done that. And I've named mine Never Use to remind me to never actually use these files. So you can see that I've got my fake class list in here with my students. The next thing that you're going to do is go back to your assessment folder, and you're going to create a new folder for your first subject. I'm going to walk you through this with me, and we're going to do one for learning skills. So I'm going to create a new folder called Learning Skills. And in that Learning Skills folder, I'm going to create a new form. So a new, more, and Google Form. Google Forms is how we actually get the information into this document without having to type it every time. So I'm back over here to my Google Form, and I'm going to call this Learning Skills. Automatically populates it here. For each form, no matter what you're doing, whether it's a curriculum expectation, a parent contact form, whatever you're doing, the first question is always going to be student name. And Google automatically changes it to short answer, but I don't want it to be short answer. I want it to be multiple choice or check boxes or drop down. I'm going to choose multiple choice for this one. And then I'm just going to leave it. I'm not actually going to put any student names in here, and you'll see why in a second. So I'm going to add a question over here, and my next question is going to be the learning skill. And this one is going to be multiple choice. And I'm going to go over to my growing success document, which I opened earlier, so that I can just copy by Control C and back over to learning skills, Control V to paste. And I'm just going to do that for all of these. So Control C to copy, Control V to paste, and I will be back in a couple of seconds with this done. Okay, so you can see I have all the learning skills in here. So I'm going to add another question, and this one is going to be called notes or anecdotals or observations. And this one you're going to want to keep as a paragraph. One thing I forgot to mention is that you're going to have to make these questions required so that you can't skip through the form and accidentally leave out the student name or the learning skill or the notes. So I'm going to make this one required. Click on this box to get back into this question. I'm going to make it required, and I'm going to make student name required. Now that we have our form ready to go, now we're going to do the kind of tricky part in using DocAppender. It's likely that you don't have this puzzle piece up here. So if you do and you have DocAppender, you're good to go and you can ignore me for a second. If you don't, you're going to come over to these three dots and you're going to click add-ons. These are independent third-party pieces of script that people make to make all of Google Suite easier to use. You're going to search for DocAppender. And you'll have a button here that says get it or install. I already have it, so I don't have it, that button. So you're going to click the get it button and let it run through all the permissions, accept all the permissions. And then when you come back here, you'll have this puzzle piece. There is one more thing that we need to do though, before we run this add-on. So I'm going to take us back to my student copy names of never use. And I don't obviously want to use these. What I want to do is make copies of these that I can put into my learning skills folder so that when I'm assessing learning skills, I have all of my student names here and I can go through in report card time and open only Amy's file for learning skills and write her report card. So go back into your never use file, click on the first name you have, hold down the shift key and click on the last name. That'll select them all. Then right click and make a copy. That's going to make a copy of all the names so that you don't have to redo that whole system of creating a new document for each of them. So now I'm going to grab all these copies. So click on the first one, hold down shift and click on the last one. And I'm going to move them into my learning skills folder. I'm going to go back into my learning skills folder, and I know this is a lot of steps, but trust me, you will totally get this. And now you can see that I've got copy of for all of my student names. Lots of people leave it like this. They don't mind. I do mind. So I'm going to go through and change all of these so that they just say the student name again. To do that, you right click and click rename, and then just get rid of the copy as. So you're going to want to do that for each one of these possibly. I'm going to go do that now. Okay, so I've changed all the names on my file to just my student names. And now I can go back to my learning skills form, which I created, which is up here. And I'm going to run DocAppender. So again, DocAppender is a third-party add-on. I'm going to click it, click DocAppender, and open your sidebar. This actually makes DocAppender run. So the first thing it wants to know is, hey, where am I going to put all the information that you put in this form so that I can make it onto an individual student's sheet so that you can write report cards better? So you're going to pick your folder from Drive, and we just did this work, so it'll show up at the top here. So there's my learning skills folder where I have all my student names. Select it and click next. And it's saying, okay, which question is going to force me to put information on that individual doc? And the question is the student name question. Oftentimes you have to press refresh list, even though you've just started. So just click refresh list, and then the question will be student name. Save and populate the selected question and watch the magic. So you can see what DocAppender did was it took all of the names from all of the docs in that folder and just put them here so that you don't have to retype this for learning skills and math and language and behavior, etc. So click next. And it's asking you what questions do you want to show up on this sheet that you're going to have at the end. So I want the time. I don't need the student name because the student name is right here at the top. So I don't need student name, but I do want the learning skill that they're working on and my notes. And I want to change this to separate vertical tables. This is the only way I've found that makes the timestamp actually work. So enable. And now you're ready to roll. So you can close DocAppender and you can start playing around with this. This is the editable form, so you can't use this to play around. You need the live form. To get to the live form, you click on the eyeball. And here's what you'll see when you're actually going through to do the form, whether it's on your phone or on your desktop. So I'm going to work on Amy here. And she is working on organization. And my note is that she always keeps her desk tidy so she can find her materials. And of course, you could have whatever you wanted. And the great thing about this is when you're on a phone, you can just do voice to text, which makes this so fast. So let's submit. And let's take a look at Amy's learning skill doc. So the way we find that is we go back into our learning skills file and we look at Amy. And here she goes. So I've got the timestamp. I know what she's working on and I know my notes. Let's do another one on Amy. So I'm going to submit another response. I'm going to work on Amy again, and we're going to look on self-regulation, and we're going to say that she sometimes has a hard time calming down after being excited. And submit it, and immediately it's going to show up on Amy's sheet right here. So that means when I go to write report cards, I'm going to have this beautiful page all filled with everything that Amy does in learning skills. I'm going to show you some other examples of forms that you could use. And then, of course, I think you'll have lots of ideas I've never even thought of. So here's one that I did for number sense and numeration for grade 1. So I've got my title, here's all my students, here's all of my curriculum expectations that I again just copied and pasted from the curriculum document. On this one I gave a level, although I did not make the level question required because it's not always that you want to give a level when you're doing notes on academic subjects. Sometimes you just want to write some notes, and here's my observations. If you want to see the live form, you would just click on the preview. And there you go. Got all, this is the difference between a drop down and the multiple choice. I like the drop down because I don't have to take up so much space on my form. I'm going to go back over to my drive and my assessment folder and show you one on parent contact. On this one, you can see that I haven't actually run DocAppender on it yet because my student name thing isn't filled out. In order to run DocAppender on this parent contact form, I have all my names here in here already, which is perfect. I've already copied them over. So now I can run DocAppender, open the sidebar, pick where I want it to be from, and I want it to be from my parent contact form folder where I've already got all my names copied over. Click next. I always refresh the list because it doesn't always show up. Student name, save and populate, watch the magic over here, which is my favorite part. Click next. What do I want to show up on the sheet? Everything except for everything except for student name. And again, I want this separate vertical tables and enable. And then I can close it out. In order to work on the sheet, I use the eyeball. I'm going to choose Amy again, and I talked to her mom, and we talked about how Amy is doing so much better with her homework. Of course, this could be anything. And submit it. And when I go back into the parent contact folder where Amy's name is, I have it right here. I really hope you find this useful and helpful. I do know it's a lot to take in at the beginning, but all you have to do is watch this video a couple of times and you will be a pro at it just like me. If you do have any questions or you need some extra help, you can give me an email at a.maharg@tvdsb.on.ca and I'll be happy to help you. I look forward to hearing how you do with it. Thanks for listening.